In a world of Lovecraftian gods, gods that can break your mind and drive anyone mad, gods that are known for manipulating humans to do their bidding, do you really have free choice? What's up, guys? I'm a son of Benedict. Call of Cthulhu is not a game I would have seen myself playing, let alone liking. But here we are. It's not the most well-made game. There's definitely some uncanny valley with those facial expressions, and I'm not talking about the monsters. And not all the stats are created equal when it comes to the RPG elements, but that's fine. Where it really shines is through the story, and the question that it poses about free will. We can't talk about Cthulhu without talking about Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft was an interesting individual. You may remember that I mentioned him in passing in my Bloodborne video, another game inspired by his work. Despite writing about cults, religions, and gods, Lovecraft was an atheist. A lot of his works are cited as being influenced by cosmic indifferentism, the idea that nothing we do ultimately matters. In his own works, Lovecraft's gods are so far beyond humanity that humans are negligible. But we're not talking about a book written by Lovecraft. We're talking about Call of Cthulhu, a video game inspired by Lovecraft. I make a point of this because as much as it's inspired by Lovecraft and directly riffs off one of his books by the same name, the rules are different in this game. Humans are not negligible. The game follows Edward Pierce, a detective who lives in his office. Literally. A man comes to him with a case about his missing daughter. The case takes Pierce to an island run by cultists. It's here that I'll warn you that, as with all of my videos, there's lots of spoilers. This game is also incredibly disturbing, but I believe it does have a good message when you get to the bottom of it, as I will argue here. It's not disturbing just to be disturbing. As it turns out, the woman Pierce is looking for, Sarah Hawkins, is a prophet for the cultists. Her paintings are directly prophetic. The scenes depicted in them are often direct references to scenes that happen later in the game. That, or they act as portals for monsters, like you do. A good example of a prophetic painting is the one of Sarah's husband, Charles Hawkins. Charles is also a cultist, but this painting was made before he had grotesque tentacles. Sarah painted an image of her husband that was yet to happen. She also has a painting of Pierce, despite having never met him before. The game keeps introducing you to this idea of prophecy and fate, and it tries to tell you that you can't change what has been written, or painted, I suppose. The supposed proof of this is in the 4 endings of the game. After each one, there's a painting depicting that ending. The end of the game has Sarah asking Pierce to perform a ritual to invoke Cthulhu. One ending has Pierce commit suicide rather than perform the ritual. The ending shows a painting of his suicide. Another ending has Pierce reject the ritual, and Sarah is the one that dies. Again, there's a painting depicting Sarah's death. The point is that no matter what you choose, it was foreseen. It was always meant to be. This can be a little confusing, so let me attempt to explain. Suicide ending has a suicide painting. Ritual rejection ending has a ritual rejection painting. Both paintings were made before the events of the game, but only the one that applies to the ending you chose. Clear as mud? Choice is an illusion and the end is predetermined. That's all you're supposed to understand. The point of these paintings is to tell you that you have no free will. Cthulhu either knows what you will do before you do it, or has predetermined what you will do. It's actually unclear which. However, as powerful as Cthulhu is, the game actually does advocate for free will, but it's very hard to find. The game is entirely based on choices, but tries to tell you that none of them matter. However, there is a mechanic in the game called insanity. As you encounter more traumatic things and learn more about Cthulhu, you start going mad. You can avoid madness by avoiding certain events. If you do this, you have the strength and sanity to reject the ritual that summons Cthulhu. Leading up to the end, there's a series of choices you have to make while in a nightmare state. These choices are essentially one of the Lovecraftian monsters trying to indoctrinate you into the cult. You have the choice to reject the indoctrination, but Pierce will do the action anyway. However, if you say no to each of these decisions, Pierce will struggle and fight. If you say yes to the indoctrination, he does not struggle. This does matter because even under the immense influence of a deity, Pierce can still somewhat resist, and the resistance protects his mind. Rejecting the ritual is the best ending. The cultists disappear, and their power is gone since Pierce is the only one that's able to summon Cthulhu. However, Sarah Hawkins dies. You aren't able to save her. However, you are presented with a painting of Sarah's death, still trying to convince you it was all predetermined. Except there is one scene in the game that indicates that Pierce does have free will, and that it wasn't all predetermined. This painting is of the ritual itself, but it appears before the finale. Pierce goes mad and starts hallucinating here, but we know the painting is real because it remains after the hallucination disappears. At this point in the game, you can still reject the ritual, and thus this painting, although prophetic, doesn't have to happen. Pierce still has free will. Cthulhu and the other monsters try to break him, but they can't openly reveal themselves because if they do, they'll risk killing him. Since Pierce is the only one that can summon Cthulhu, they have to reveal themselves gradually. Since it's only gradual, Pierce can resist. It's painful, it's hard, and he doesn't know what's real and what's not, but he can choose to reject it. He does have freedom. It's not exactly a stretch for a Christian to equate the Lovecraftian deities, including Cthulhu, to demons. Demons try the same strategies to break us, or at least it's one of their strategies. Satan doesn't actually want to kill you. He wants you to suffer for eternity and reject Christ. Killing you doesn't actually accomplish his goal. It's important to note that while Lovecraftian monsters are good analogies to demons, Satan is an incorporeal angel. He has no body, and he's more powerful than Cthulhu. But two things will remain constant when it comes to battling Satan. One, God is infinitely more powerful and will aid you. Two, Satan can't take your free will away. He can only try to break you. Even under immense psychological trauma, temporal or spiritual in nature, you have free will. Resist. Cthulhu and Satan are not all powerful. St. Benedict and St. Scholastica pray for us.